Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Launch Sequence podcast. It is episode 43, a good one too. I've got with me here today, good friend, H8R115, the leader of Pipeline, formerly known as SC Leaks. How are you doing today, man?
Just fine, honestly. I just watched that SC not live, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with it. It was a nice, fun little actual informative SC live.
It was about 317, right?
Yeah. They talked about a whole bunch of fun topics.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but the patch is looking better than I think a lot of people expected a couple months ago.
Yeah, and they've now confirmed that Quantum's live with the three commodities. I think they said it was like refueling commodities, both the fuels and repair items to repair and fuel up ship ammo.
That's okay. Before we get too deep into it,
Oh yeah, no.
I just want to have a disclaimer for everybody who is watching or listening to this episode because of obviously the topic. We may start talking about leaks in some detail, stuff that you might not want to know. So just in case, just keep your ears open. If we get onto that topic, skip forward a couple minutes, and we'll be right back with you. But I do want to talk about what you just said about Quantum being live, because on ISC yesterday, they were mentioning how the prices will change as you sell things to stores, and how other people can then buy at different prices because of that. Do you think that also is linked to Quantum?
They didn't mention that specifically, and I'm just kind of going off what he mentioned because he said it was recorded on the 17th. So it was recorded yesterday? Yeah. It was recorded yesterday UK time, or probably LA time, and they mentioned that, and they mentioned that it will also affect like the probability volumes and whatnot, so we'll do mission generation and NPC generation. So you'll see some freighters, you'll see some pirates, you'll see regular guys. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Might be cool. It might be cool. They might be talking it up, which it sounds like they include in the patch notes.
Might be talking it up, but that'll go a long way to making it feel a little more alive. And honestly, we've heard about Quantum for so long. It'd be nice to finally see it in action.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back, because usually in this podcast, we like to talk a little bit about the guest first. And to be honest, I think you have one of the more interesting backstories of people who have been on here. You started Star Citizen Leaks, but you're actually quite a bit younger than most of the people who play this game, or even probably people who know. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that happened and why it ended up being you?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if people have seen how much some of my earlier content and moderation practices were, you can take a wild guess that when I began Star Citizen Leaks about like 5 or so years ago, I was 15. I'm 20 now. And then as I did mature with my own age, I matured my content, and Star Citizen Leaks is all of that.
Went from soda to wine.
I see Space Tomato just like nodding, saying, "Yeah, yeah, it's definitely changed."
No, I get it. I get it as well. I've not been doing it that long, but like, you learn things. You definitely learn things very quickly doing this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So you started it at 15. Was there anybody else involved?
Okay, so I need to go back and like how Star Citizen Leaks actually started.
Sure.
So I was on a Derek Smart Discord, right?
Oh, okay. Interesting start.
Yeah, so I was kind of a little bit more negative about the game then. I also was kind of like interested to see some old game stuff. So I decided, you know what? I was going to try and find the old Disco Lando leak. Do you remember that?
Yeah. It's like 2015-ish.
Yeah, 2015, about like 100 gigs worth of stuff leaked.
Do you think, can I ask real quick what your opinion on that is? I know there are some rumors that people think maybe it was on purpose or something. Is there any?
Okay, trust me, if people actually did more of a look onto those files, which I did end up doing, along with some other people, CIG would have been they left. There was some. Sorry for the language. There was a few login details left behind to stuff that was active. Look, it's a done problem about this. Yeah. I mean, it's been 5 years since. yeah, 5 years since then. No, wait, no, 8 years. Jesus, it's
Yeah,
2020.
it's been 7
7 years,
years. Yeah.
2022. Yeah, it's been a long time since then. A lot of that stuff has either been changed and depreciated, but there is a lot of mistakes in there. So yeah, so early at Star Citizen Leaks was me and a few other people, primarily this person who some people may have heard of, Heavy Bob, which I won't go too detail in. But me and him were kind of like this beginning of Star Citizen Leaks. Along that, I was doing cross posts on the main Star Citizen Reddit
Okay.
of like threads posting stuff that you can get, because originally leaks came through two ways. One, Evocati would post over on 4chan, like leak stuff and all that. And the other way was CIG's old launcher was essentially a torrenting platform, which means all you needed to do was get like the the magnet link. Boom, you got the entire build to yourself. You have to download the entire build, of course,
Yeah.
but that's you did not need a login information. All you need to do it was basically free piracy. You see,
Yeah, I
I
remember
bought
there's just a lot of data mining going on, right? Because of that.
there was a lot of data mining, and there was just a lot of straight up piracy if you wanted to. I
Okay.
mean, you could play Star Citizen alone if you want to, but there was a lot of issues back then.
Yeah.
Let me. But yeah. So that was what I did on the side, and I thought the Star Citizen leaks, which began as SC leaks, because old Star Citizen underscore leaks was entirely a Derek Smart thing,
Huh.
or ran by those guys over on Goonswarm.
Okay. Some
So it
lore.
was a little. It was mainly just this guy called the Agent leaking a bunch of false stuff. I think he had a really good one time for one of the old CitizenCon. Everything lined up, but apart from that, it's been pretty inaccurate.
Right.
So that was mainly what that Reddit was for. I created our SC leaks as to combat that. And when 3.0 happens, there was like thousands of people joining. I think we hit like at 3,000 people at some point, which sounds silly now with like, I think it's like 25,000 now.
I remember that was around when I started to see the posts on Reddit like you were talking about, and I started following that stuff a bit more.
Well, that was before like some huge community drama happened. See, during this entire thing, somebody managed to get their hands on an exploit. The details of that I don't want to discuss too much, but long story short, another build is out for Star Citizen, and our huge 2017 development league. That's like what we call it,
Mm-hmm.
or 3.x is the alternative name. That leaked out right before 3.0 launched, and that was kind of exposed by me as like being a thing that we had. And because of that, I stepped down off of SC Leaks and all that, while they dealt with that drama because they didn't want me over there.
Right.
It was an entire thing, and honestly, stepping down was the best thing I could have done, because when the new iteration, which is the iteration everyone knows, Star Citizen underscore leaks, is I took the old Reddit from the Goon guys, like they let me have everything, the keys behind that entire project, and I remade it into Star Citizen underscore leaks. Brought in a bunch of new moderators, and we've been going since then.
You know what? That makes so much sense, because throughout my time hearing about leaks, occasionally coming across them, this is like over the last few years, every once in a while you'll come across somebody who'll be like, oh yeah, those people don't like Star Citizen. Those people are leaking because they're trying to do something against them. And it makes sense that that was the original group and then you took it over, and people think that for whatever reason, just because of the name is the same, or they didn't get the updated information, they think that the same sort of motivations are driving that group.
Well, I mean, there's that isn't exactly untrue either.
Okay.
Like, I would say because of the nature of how Star Citizen Leaks now pipeline is, as kind of like a fringe community doing stuff that normal guys won't cover, leaks. What we have there is a community that's inherently outside of what would be uh, normal for the other games. So we get a bunch of fringe people, and as fringe people are usually the people who stir up trouble in Spectrum over chat, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I get you.
you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Those guys are primarily who half the people who come into the server. That's what half those guys are. Disgruntled people over Star Citizen.
Okay. So it's
So
kind of
it's definitely true that there's a lot of people in the server that do not like the way Star Citizen's going, but care enough to still look into it.
right. So that sort of community acts as a bit of a beacon for people who are more in that camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
My,
It. Go ahead.
I was about to say, like, my entire idea of how that community's ran, which is both negative and a positive, is a lot of it is going to be like left on its own to just kind of see what it makes of itself, and we'll call anyone who's being a real piece of work if we need to. And yeah, that way is kind of festered into something that can be looked both positive and negatively compared to
Depending on the time of the day.
depending on the time of the day, depending on the recent actions of CIG. It's like it's like the waves, right?
Yeah. No, I get you. So you don't run the community itself?
Oh, I do and I don't. I have the little crown next to my icon on the server that says I own the Discord, which means I have I have the buttons.
Yeah.
But mainly I stay off of it. Usually it's ran by my co-owner Horse, as well as a few people who have been really good community contributors, and they manage a bunch of the social news stuff. But
I see.
in terms of what I what I primarily do on a server is maintain leaks alongside the leak correspondent, is what we've kind of like decided as a name on, because she didn't want to be a part of the moderating team.
Mm-hmm.
Arya, who's wonderful, but oh god, I can't. Sorry. Who's wonderful, and she's if she didn't come back, I think we might not be doing Evocati leaks at this point, because it's just something that I've lost interest in personally, other than the data mining aspect.
That's actually the perfect segue, because my next question was going to be kind of how do these leaks happen? I know there is the Evocati stuff like you talk about. There's the data mining. There might be people who just know this information who pass it on, but it sounds like there's definitely a difference between getting that information based on the platform.
So a lot of leaks, other than data mining, a lot of them come into us. We don't usually hard pursue anything.
Okay.
It's just to prevent like fingers from being pointed and all that kind of stuff. We try and lower our active role in creating leaks other than just data mining. So usually, if something does leak image or text wise, it's of their own volition of like anyone who's leaking to us. Because I don't know, I've always felt weird about asking someone, especially when it comes to our insider sources. Hey, you want to risk your job for us to
Right.
go off that news ship?
Yeah, it is. There's definitely you're walking a tightrope when you're dealing with this kind of stuff.
But yeah, that's usually how we approach that kind of those kinds of sources. When it comes to data mining, of course, that is the one thing that I continue to do, or I love to just do from the Evocati releases. Usually, I have the builds to me like 10 hours after a patch is launched, just because of downloading times and whatnot. I
Yeah.
don't have an account to download it myself, because that would be bad.
So most of these leaks are coming to you guys. Is there any sort of like a process that you go through to figure out, maybe this is something that we should hold off on, maybe this is a little bit too much information too early, or is it kind of just you pass them through as they come?
It depends. Evocati, we kind of just pass them all out. As long as we get like the thumbs up that images or video that came from someone who shared it internally with Evocati, and that's their own fault. Or alternatively, we've censored all the watermarks and all that. Because first off, CIG doesn't like to ban people from Evocati, which is a bit of an issue, as it's probably one of the biggest reasons we were able to get through a
Yeah.
lot of years. But because of that, there's a lot of less tech enthused people over in Evocati who like to just straight up post their stuff unlisted on their YouTube, put it in general chat. That stuff, easy fodder for leak news and all
Right.
that stuff. So we just grab it, we repost it. No one gets banned, no one gets touched. It's kind of like an unwritten contract.
So, and you're just acting as the messenger here. Like you said, you're not
Yeah.
really going out and asking people to bring you this stuff. You're like, hey, it's here. We're just compiling it for people.
Yeah, I mean, of course, just like, oh, yeah, if you want to be the patch notes guy, you be the patch notes guy. We have patch notes people. We have people who upload builds. We have people who do data mining of their own volition. I mean, even the recent mole, or not mole, sorry, mule. So many
Yeah.
moles,
All
mules.
the M names, all these animals.
Yeah, the mule was from one of our more data mine enthused Evocati sources who are really good at getting all that nitty gritty. We would have definitely missed that mule if it wasn't for them because they like to go a little bit more
Get a little more into
scalpel.
it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get waist deep in it. Okay. I had another question that I was just about to. Oh, that's right. So you said that you have the patch notes guys. You've also got your people who are doing data mining, but also lately, you've all done a pretty significant rebranding, going from SC Leaks to Pipeline, and have thus started to put out slightly different content as well on YouTube. How has that been going for you? And I guess also even more important is why.
Okay, so rebranding itself was mainly just so and this is me speaking as Hater115, the
Hmm.
person who runs Hater115 stuff, or that not Hater115 spokesperson of SE Leaks. Yeah, I just wanted to do some stuff. I don't know. I got bored of just Star Citizen leaks, and felt like, you know what? I did the Star Citizen leak stuff. Channel's there. I'm gonna use it for some other stuff. And you guys don't like it, you can unsubscribe. If you guys like it, you can subscribe.
Fair.
That's kind of how I've mentally done a lot of the switch. Was just allow me some more generalization wiggle room.
Okay. So are you what's your angle now? What is your niche if you're not just Star Citizen Leaks? What's more of like if people wanted to
I don't know.
still finding it out?
Yeah, I wanted to do some like no clip. Have you ever watched No Clip
Oh
or
yeah, I
people who?
love No Clip.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of do something similar to that in a way where I talk to some people throughout the Star Citizen community and just kind of do a piece on something they're doing. The one I'm currently working on for that kind of stuff is for it's for the data mining tool called StarFab by the Star System modding community. It's a really
Hmm.
interesting tool. I already have some interviews out. I'm just transcribing them so I'm able to fit into some sort of story. I don't know. It's mainly just something I'm working on in the background. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then I'll stop doing it.
That's a great idea in my opinion, because there's so much. I put out a video a couple months ago. Jeez, it's already been months. And it was about how like players do a lot to drive this game forward, from the news to the new player experience to like the tools that we use for the game. But not many people know about those tools. That's a pretty good topic to focus on.
Yeah, so I was going to talk with them, the guys behind the translation tools, as well as I wanted to talk to one of the YouTubers doing a hanger kind of app. I think it
Yeah.
was Star Hanger.
Star Hanger,
Yep.
yep.
Yeah.
Star
So I
Jump.
wanted Star Jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk to those guys. Star Jump wanted to wait until their display was a little bit better before getting into that, which makes sense. Translation team was actually going to come out a little sooner, except Ukraine happens.
They have members over there.
Yeah, and they have members who are Russian.
Mm.
So
Oh man, and
that's
that's gonna, yeah, as
yeah,
far as
that's a thing.
communication goes.
That's a thing. So that's probably silently canned. But I don't know. I have other priorities for like the next few weeks. What I've been usually doing, or the one thing I've been consistently doing, except for 1 week, is just week. I'm calling it week now. Where I wanted originally was just Week in a Minute, where I did a
Almost a minute. Sometimes.
yeah week in. Well, it was gonna be Week in a Minute. I was gonna do YouTube shorts of the Star Citizen news throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically just gonna copy Noobify. Then, you know, I wanted it to be a little longer than a minute, and now I just don't care anymore. It's just gonna be it's just gonna be a really quick way of me talking about whatever I want to talk about in like less than 5 minutes until it's like less than 10 minutes, less than 15.
Just
It's
do it. Yeah, do whatever sticks, what works.
it's just called week. It's just gonna be the week. Whatever I do in a week, in a video, and then it's just there.
I get that.
There's
So,
one other thing, and that is something I know is going to come out sometime early in the month. It is going to be the replacement for like Star Citizen League focus videos. And
no more drips and drops?
yeah, no more of that. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to promise anything there. I'm just doing whatever I want with it.
All right. But your videos, your videos, when you put them out, have things like Discord messages in them and like notes from developers, and so it's, patch notes and things like that. A lot of stuff that other places don't have. Was that
mainly, especially Minute, is mainly me wanting to learn editing for video stuff. I feel like I'm getting kind of used to it, and not enough to be like a professional YouTube editor, H8R115.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know either. It's mainly just me throwing together something because I want to. That's it.
Okay.
That's the thought behind Pipeline. That's the thought about how Star Citizen League stuff happens. I wanted to be in a Santa costume one time. I did the Santa costume. I wanted to threaten to lead a sock. I did the sock thing. It's just me doing what I want with
the
it.
sock thing. Can you let's take a minute and tell everybody about the sock thing. So, how did that all get started?
Okay, so I made a bet. Actually, this needs even more context.
Okay.
So, I made a bet in the past with one of the moderators. Only one of the moderators knows about this bet. I think it's Arya. We were in this like how involved are you with like Reddit and all that kind of stuff?
I'm getting back into it. I used to be huge into it. Took about a year off.
Okay, so you know about the April Fool's stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember Betray the Circle, I think?
Don't remember that one.
Place. Reddit Place?
I don't remember that one, no. I haven't seen enough of the April Fools. I remember the Flat Planets one, the 400i one, and I think those are the only two, actually.
Oh, no. I'm talking about Reddit April Fools.
Oh, no, okay. I don't know theirs.
Like a social experiments. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Basically, there was like a little mini community that we had just ended up creating, and I had made a bet that I'd eat a sock, and I lost the bet, but I didn't eat the sock.
Ooh.
So I made that bet again in Star Citizen Leagues, thinking that, you know what, I'll actually do it this time if I failed. And I failed the bet. So I ate the sock.
Oy. And so the bet was based on specific ship, right?
The 400i, I said, oh, you know what, this would launch at X time. I think I said 314.
Yeah, I think it was then.
It didn't launch then. And yeah, so a lot of people think that I edited. I didn't even realize it on how I edited the video until it actually launched, and a lot of people start commenting this.
Mm-hmm.
But I recorded myself for about 3 hours just chopping up that sock and choking on it.
Oh my god.
And that last like 10 minutes of a video is me eating the sock. It's just edited it so you did not hear me choking.
Just cut out like 80% of the footage.
Oh yeah, no. I had a witness. That's why there's like subtitles midway through the video of like someone speaking. That it was just someone watching me through my work laptop camera,
just cringing.
Everything was all working. Deep fry next time. Oh, you didn't watch the video then, because that was the second thing I did.
Yeah, I didn't watch the full video.
Yeah, no, I deep fried that sock, man.
I do know that. It's like I was trying to think what would be the best way to cook a sock.
In terms of like comfortably getting it down, I think the best way was actually deep frying it. I
Somebody's going
mean,
to need to do a study on that.
the ash smoothie at the end, which was the worst idea.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah, that was the worst way. I thought it'd be the best way. My God, that was the worst way. There was actually a cut way. I forgot because I entirely forgot I put it in my fridge. I had froze a piece of the sock,
Oh. Okay.
and I put that in a picture frame. And it's just somewhere in my apartment.
It's the reminder. Good question in chat here. Do you know what the fabric was? The balance. Talking
It was like
polyester.
yeah, it was like a wool polyester sock. It
Oh.
was, yeah.
Oh. I would have gone cotton.
I think it might. I don't know. It was a fancy sock. I spent like $20 on the sock.
It's a luxury sock eating adventure. Well, that's
Yeah, it's from the London Sock Company.
so another theory that obviously has floated around. Do you think that CIG was trolling you?
Oh, with the foreign dry thing.
Yeah. Or do you think they were just not ready when
As
they
much as I want to just like say for my own like ego, yeah, they were totally trolling me, and they
Yeah.
moved an entire ship sail back. No, no, that was just me being wrong.
That would be pretty cool though. It would be very funny if they were
Look,
like, this could be in 314.
look behind the scenes. The person who leaked me the entire 400i release date thing left
Mhm.
CIG probably like 2 quarters before that. Before it was supposedly about to launch,
Okay.
so I had no, I would have had no clue.
Okay. So it was just outdated.
Yeah, we had gotten some additional stuff, and that person just didn't know. He just had access to the 400i, and
I see.
we were blind.
When it
But you know
comes
what?
to Go
Oh
ahead.
wait, sorry. Now you keep going. I wasn't going to say anything worthwhile.
Everything's worthwhile. That's why you're here. But I was going to say before, or rather, when you run into that kind of an issue where you get information that's wrong or outdated or anything like that, has that changed the process in which you cover this stuff?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. For instance, and you can most plainly see it when people post the when I think the most popular post I've had on Reddit was me saying, "Do not worry, CIG is actually going to have Pyro out on time, and Squadron 42 is going to go beta by the end of 2021."
Oh no.
And that was at like tail end of 2020, I think, or like right before midway through it. Because I remember, because I was in Hawaii.
That was when they really started slowing things down too.
Yeah, that was when a bunch of oh wait, no, it couldn't actually. It could have been. Sorry, I'm just going back in my mind. But yeah, that dates are bogus. Oh, God, I keep doing it.
I got you.
But dates are bogus, and no matter who tells you, CIG does not have a good enough communication structure in order to make sure when things are coming out on any sort of schedule, unless it's being made for an event, which is why
Or
I
a
kind of
sale.
trusted even the Fleet Week stuff. Like, I've been told about this Fleet Week mission, which you can see in some of the 317 leaks. This FPS mission for probably about 2 months now, and I did not trust that because I can't trust that because we've gotten similar stuff about Fleet Week leaks all the way back during the first Fleet Week. I think then we were told that there was going to be. Remember how some of the trailers showed a flight show?
Yeah. They're
Yeah, the
flying
flight
around
show
Arcorp.
actually. Yeah, the flight show worked in some of the early development packages. It was going to be in game and all that. It was actually about to be in game again for New Babbage, but they broke it again. That's why the F-18s kept spawning below New Babbage.
Also, it was in the trailer again.
Yeah. Look, that all I'm saying is that flight show's never coming.
Right, right. So does it feel then like actually no, I lost my question. I was gonna continue asking about the way that you change. So it seems like you're holding things closer to the chest now. And I'm wondering if Has CIG also started holding things close to the chest? Is it gotten more difficult to get information or to do the data mining? Does it feel like they've really scaled things back?
Data mining has gotten easier than ever, right? Just because the
Oh,
tools are staying up with every time they remove something.
okay.
Like the tools are so good nowadays, which is why I recommend StarFab. Look into it if you got time. Um, and I'm not talking too explicitly. I'm just like this is just like the point where pointing at the camera if I had a camera.
Okay,
But
so all of you people, look into it.
but a lot of that, like ships, it is near impossible now to get someone to go ships because of how they do work from home. A lot of it's done on like a virtual machine of how that stuff's stored. CIG has a weird system when it comes to Star Citizen on virtual machines. It's hard to get someone just to randomly data mine that stuff.
Okay.
And the people working on that stuff, we've lost track of. A lot of those people moved on to Squadron 42. Something that I am really hesitant to cover, mainly because I have been told a lot of times by Xylo and a few other of the community managers, do not, or you will get a cease and desist.
So there is a line.
There is a line, and that line is just in a really bold 42.
Right. Okay. That's actually one of my next questions. I'm wondering what the relationship is between leaks and CIG. Obviously, I mean, well, first of all, have they ever acknowledged Star Citizen leaks?
And well, that depends on what you're saying. Like in terms of talking about it on the forums or anything, no. Well, leak content's never really been mentioned, apart from maybe like some moderators saying, "Oh, no leak images" or something.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like references to our work, I mean, the 400i April Fool's thing that was direct just to combat some rumors. I think there was a Fleet Week cinematic with these RSI, whatever it was called, the gunship, the
Was it a
Perseus.
Perseus? Yeah.
Yeah, Perseus. Yeah, like we had a really poor 3D model come in. Actually, it really wasn't poor. The guy did a great job. But we had that 3D model as like the primary visual.
Okay.
And that was kind of parried along with what we first did as a visual, which was execute, drew over the rock screenshot we had with in MS Paint.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we showed, and it looked awful. It was on point. That was a four. That was your rock.
Yeah. Yeah, it ended up showing up. So besides that, is there any sort of a relationship then, like on the on the
Uh,
community level, but also interpersonally? Like you said, you've been told personally by Xylo certain things. Is there any sort of understanding?
the understanding is usually just Squadron 42. You know, we both exist. They understand leaks exist. As long as we aren't destructive with them, that line is going to be crossed. I feel like I have plans to talk about some stuff in the future that might kind of. It's something that I'm going to test out sometime with the next leak video. Let's just say that for sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
Hmm.
unfortunately, a lot of those sources are in Squadron now because it's just everyone's working Squadron. It's just where
Right.
everyone is.
Right. So that's kind of that's big. So when you look at the things that are getting leaked now, like say 317, we're seeing some stuff. We talked a little bit about some stuff before the podcast. A lot of that is stuff that you were thinking is being worked on in for Squadron, but also getting implemented into the code for later for Star Citizen.
Well, yeah, I mean, okay, a lot of that dichotomy of where like, oh, something happens in Squadron's gonna come to Star Citizen later is a little bit misunderstood. I mean, there's a point where Squadron 42 stuff's a little bit is always gonna be a bit ahead because it's a different branch. So when 317's branched out, it just prevents new stuff from being added on. But the guys working PU on like 318 or whatever, they're still branched up with whatever changes Squadron gets.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of general stuff that. Well, you better summarize this. Squadron 42 doesn't have a better FPS model because it's a patch ahead. Like, Squadron 42 doesn't have a bunch of better UIs. though it does have a really good Gladius UI. Squadron 42 doesn't have a new star map. It doesn't have better EVA. It doesn't have. There's nothing that Squadron 42 doesn't have that would be worth it.
Right.
It's mainly just like earlier gameplay stuff. Maybe like they probably had the gravity gun before Squadron 40 or Star Citizen had it. They definitely had salvage, cutter stuff like that. That stuff's in Squadron 42 before the PU, but
Okay.
its disparity isn't as wide as people think.
Okay. Want to go back real quick to something you said about Squadron, and actually, I guess something that also you just reminded me of it, talking about the Gladius. So there is stuff that you've seen that you know about for Squadron, but you don't want to put it out there because of your encounters with Xylo and what they've said.
Yeah, there's plenty. If I am going to talk about anything Squadron related, it's going to be more so of like uh, developer experiences on the project, because like there's some really weird stuff that happens over there because of how obscure it is,
Huh.
and a lot of CIG is a little. It's a little too AAA with how it manages stuff like NDAs. Like there is a good threat of blacklisting if you mention a lot of Star Citizen stuff. I mean, that's how it is with a bunch of the industry. But like, there's a reason why you don't hear too much from older devs, especially after I think a few years ago, one of the old CIG devs had a open letter to some of the issues in the Star Citizen character team, with mainly due to communication.
Mm-hmm.
After that, a lot of stuff was hammered down in the NDA, preventing a lot of talking about what happened past work. And of course, there's probably devs that have completely different like things that they're able to say, and they're probably devs who just straight up disagree with me. These experiences aren't exactly consistent, even between some of the people I've talked to. All I
Mm-hmm.
know is I know the people that I do talk to with that kind of stuff that I trust enough to mention it here, even now. Like I know they're CIG employees. I know about where they are position wise for the people who do talk to me, who don't even like mention where they are position wise. Like there is a consistency that's inconsistent. I don't know how to best phrase this.
Well, at least they're consistent about it. uh, does that feel a little worrying? You said that they're very AAA about it, and when we started, obviously they weren't AAA. At this point, though, they're making a lot of money. They got a lot of people, and they're building a pretty ridiculous game. Not to say that they have like a publisher or anything; they're doing that all themselves. But do you feel like that's indicative of some of the other signs that they might be growing too big, or does it seem like they're handling it all right?
My problem with CIG management is twofold. It's one half of it is just because of how it is, international studio, new studio, kind of it, because of the project. There's just a bunch of communication issues
Right.
internally.
Yeah.
That's known. The other thing is can't CIG is very much the first hit on a resume. They hire cheap, but they hire quick. The issue with that is nowadays the game industry is hiring people at a much higher rates.
Mm-hmm.
Lower hours, which CIG has actually been pretty good with. They're one of like the crunch. They don't really crunch their people.
That
Is
I hope not. Because like
apart
we
from like
see patches come out on like Saturday nights sometimes.
yeah, like that happens, but it isn't. No one, to my knowledge, goes on like 80-hour work weeks to
Okay.
get a patch out before CitizenCon. Like that kind of stuff doesn't happen. At least it's not forced to happen like at like a Naughty Dog or something,
Hmm.
where people feel entitled or they need to do it in order to stay relevant in the job. No, the issue is more so because of how they hire so cheap. They're not hiring enough. Like I've kind of spoil a little bit of what I'm going to look at in like the next leak video is kind
Okay.
of some developer perspectives on this miscommunication and primarily like monetary stuff. I have access to like some numbers. I'm merely going off of what's shown on Indeed. CIG usually hires about 15-20% extra workforce like every year. Like it's a pretty high number.
Yeah.
CIG has also recently bought 2 like 1,000 person offices for a big expansion, which are subsidized by the government in order to like get more people there because they want to encourage in office spacing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Look, if CIG is good at one thing, it's managing those kinds of contracts. They need every dollar in order to actually stay relevant. Like, sure, 40 million for a year is really good, but it's not enough to really grow. So they kind of need to take advantage of those tax incentives. Like that's why their bigger studio, or why they want to get Vancouver so big.
Mm-hmm. Wait, Toronto
Or
or
Toronto,
Montreal?
Montreal. Yeah,
Yeah.
Montreal. They have like a huge tax incentive for developers there.
Yeah, there's a lot
But
of studios up there.
yeah, but that's besides the point. CIG hired over the last 6 months 0% extra workforce. Like their workforce had lost, I think last time I checked the numbers, they had gained 69 people and they lost 66. So there's like a lot of turnover at the moment.
Yeah, that is heavy turnover.
Well, it's not like someone comes in and someone leaves. It's more so like people who've been on for the project are getting poached. Like it is poach
Right.
season big right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of big studios are undergoing a lot of change, but also the whole, great resignation as it's being called.
Yeah, like from what I hear, CIG doesn't pay some of their positions enough to even live in the cities that they work in. I know Disco makes a decent amount of money, but I think it is funny that their PR guy is living with a roommate
I did not know he was.
working to work at CIG.
Yeah. I mean, LA is expensive, but yeah,
Oh,
Jared should be.
I'm pretty sure he's doing it more of his own choice at this point because he's just been there is a seniority thing. Like if you're on for a while, you do get the money,
Sure.
but it's still not significant enough to really prevent people from jumping to a different game where you can get like a 20% raise or like a 50, 30, even 50% for some people.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how much is Star Citizen needing to be on like the cutting edge of developing a new game in order to attract people, just say they want to work on it. As you start to lose that edge, are they going to have a lot harder time hiring people?
One of the theories about why Squadron's kind of raising, uh, you've been given a risen priority is that there's not only the pressure of like releasing something for the public. It's more
Hmm.
so releasing something to show that if you are going to CIG, you're actually working on a game.
Yeah.
I mean, CIG is a nice thing to put on a resume. It is basically AAA development at its best. It's just not exactly well paying enough where you could stay.
Which,
Which is why.
sorry, go ahead.
All right. Well, the last thing I want to mention is this is why CIG hires a lot of people from the community. Bec- I don't like to call I don't want to call it exploitative, but there's a point where you hire someone from like your own community and you still pay them about the same rate you would pay any other person, even though that rate's already lower than average.
Hmm.
Like there's utilizing goodwill and all that kind of stuff, but like you can kind of judge for yourself if that's a little iffy.
Well, I think it's obvious to anybody who follows this game pretty regularly that most of the people, at least who show up on camera, are pretty passionate about the work they're doing, super, super excited about. They're not just some person who wanted a gaming career and they're into fantasy games and now they're working on Star Citizen. Like a lot of these people seem to really love it. So I can see that being part of the allure of certain hires. Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
say would you say that I forgot my question again. Ah, I forgot. Oh, that's right. The kind of interesting, actually, how a lot of the angles you hear taken against this game are, look at all this time, look at all this money. In fact, a lot of people ignore the time and just say any game with 400 million in funding should be better than this. But then you also hear about this fact that CIG is actually, they're really crunching numbers to try and get the most out of this money to develop the game. And the question comes up, are they not making the best use of their money?
I mean, that entirely depends on how you see how CIG manages their own studio.
It's just
there are very clear wastes inside the studio. I mean, I've also heard this is kind of where I don't want to cover links, but I've heard shit thrown towards other members of their own teams and all that kind of stuff. And some people, there's from a seniority problem I've heard that they want to kind of solve. There's not CIG. Yeah, I'm not saying that there are lazy devs, but I've heard rumors of people misusing tenure and all that kind of stuff. That thought could be seen as a waste, but in terms of other work, sometimes Chris Roberts, there's some horror stories. One horror story I've been told is he's come in, looked at the level for Squadron 42, and he's like, yeah, just wipe it. All gone.
I mean, everybody knows about the sandworm. I can't stop hearing about the freaking sandworm.
Sandworm will come out one day.
Yeah, but
I wish I could tell you there's a Squadron 42 scene with the sandworm.
Oh gosh, please don't. Just no, we don't need it. Leave it for SC. But that's kind of what people are saying. Everything is one day. A lot of people are saying all this money, it should be that day. Everything should already be here. And you kind of forget how many employees they've got that they got to pay. I got a question about how these leaks affect the community. Before I do want to ask you about a couple different things, but these leaks come out and they usually are given information, it seems maybe of the upcoming patch, possibly of 2 patches away, but usually pretty close stuff that people will be able to get pretty soon. A lot of times, like you said, it's Evocati. Do you think that the way this stuff comes out is more powerful in the way it gets people hyped, or less powerful in the way it takes away from that finally official reveal for people?
You see, it depends on how. As of right now, it's more so gets people hyped. A lot of the way CIG does their patch cycles is, we're going to show you all the surprises in the PTU. It doesn't matter. And in the PTU, it's horribly broken already. When I reveal it on Star Citizen Leaks or Pipeline now, you see it kind of with these blinders on, because if there's one game CIG has perfected, it is the game of imagining the game. And when you're told, for example, with 317, there's this new FPS mission coming in for Fleet Week, that's going to be a wave clear. I really want to, I'm thinking of all these cool ways I'm going to do that with my friends and all that. When that is on PTU, you're going to be like, man, I keep clipping out of the floor. I'm having so much fun. When it's leaked verbally or on images, it almost entirely, it's all in your mind. That's kind of how leaks are in my way.
So what you're telling me is it's better to watch Star Citizen than to play it.
Exactly.
it do be like that sometimes, especially with PTU. I can get that. It's an interesting. Yeah. It's something that I've always watched throughout the years I've been following this, especially as leaks started to get bigger, and just seeing the way the community reacts, because there's a very, very clear split, especially on Reddit. You'll see it a lot where some people are like, you're doing bad things for the game. I'm very much against this, that kind of thing. And then there's also people who are like, they need to be open about this stuff. Open development's what they're all about. So that's always an interesting topic, in my opinion. And I've never really taken any sides on that. I'm pretty neutral. I think it's really cool to get to see new stuff. It seems honestly like it's extra marketing for CIG. So Never felt too strongly about it either way.
There's a bunch of mechanisms to how the information's spread, which I would need a little bit more info on. Like, I kind of don't. I'm not sure how avoidable information from my server is. I mean, I know I have a large reach, but some of it kind of eclipse or it kind of goes past me a bit. For
Hmm.
instance, the mule. Like, a lot of people know about the mule, but like, how many people are really spoiled on it is my question. If it's significant enough to be, oh, I was spoiled on the surprise, that I wasn't gonna hear about anything either way, then I feel bad about that. But there's a point where you can usually avoid it, especially with how Star Citizen communication is right now.
Yeah.
You know, I feel there's enough of a way to avoid that kind of stuff. And also, there's another point where a lot of stuff that is leaked is sales. And I do not care to.
Not trying to protect that.
I don't care enough to for you to have a spoiler-free sale.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of spoilers, actually, this is an interesting one. Do you think that CIG will ever be able to not have all of this information? Like, obviously, they want to sneak stuff into the game that nobody's going to know about. Do you think that's even possible?
No.
No. That's
Just
disappointing.
in terms of how they can do it, the general answer I've gotten, especially this is something I talk with the mod guys with, is the idea of how they've set up their object container system. It's entirely possible for them to have server-based content that'd be basically data mine proof. They're just not gone for it yet. In
Okay.
terms of like that being near future, sorry, I've kind of lost my train of thought. Um, yeah, it might happen one day. The thing is about spoilers is it's actually even easier to do it than you think. Because if I wanted to, I can leak the entirety of Squadron 42 with what's in the PU right now.
Oh boy, that would not go well.
Well, it's already there. The rumor or like the thing CIG loves to say is that, oh, we can't show you this in fear of leaking Squadron 42.
Sure.
The way a lot of the game is set up is because of how closely linked these two games are. Almost everything like tag based is in for Squadron for Star Citizen.
Sure. Yeah.
There's of course exceptions and all that kind of stuff, but you can get a pretty good idea of what Squadron 42 is if you did a little bit data mining yourself.
And that's where the whole how much are you actually sharing comes out. You know, it's already out there. That's fine. But if you took it and put it on your YouTube channel, that obviously would be a bigger problem for them.
Yeah, yeah. That also like yeah, that's a fun little media thing. Like how much of it is like the information's out there, but it's all about how you present it,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to like leaks and all that.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to Evocati. Sure, I can leak everything from Evocati, including bugs, but then you see like, oh, this is a buggy patch. The way we do it right now is with how we leak things. We kind of leak funny bugs, and we mainly leak the content, which might give some people the impression that it's not really that buggy. And then we'll even say, oh, it's actually not that buggy compared to other Evocati patches. But because we aren't leaking the bugs, well, then you think you have a really solid Evocati patch.
Right.
Maybe it should be on P2, maybe it should even be live.
I want to
That
play
kind of
this.
that kind of small factor stuff is something we look at when we do our leaks as well. Like how do we present this very big thing that's kind of unpresentable otherwise?
Okay. So there is a lot that goes into the process of figuring out how to disseminate the info.
Yeah. Though I think it's best to look at that kind of stuff as you think of it as just looking at a Twitter feed, Some of it can get a little loose. I think the other when I was out of commission yesterday, I think one of my moderators actually posted a Star Atlas image calling it the mule. So
Oh my
we
god.
kind of free flow a little over there apparently.
I am actually, so I've only heard about Spoiler people, this might be the part where you skip ahead a little. I've only heard about just the mule's name. Is there actually anything else to it that you guys have at least shared?
Data mining wise, the mule has a few tags, primarily for seat animations as well as whether or not it's a vehicle. So we know it's a ground vehicle because of its location in the files. We know of its seat number because of how it's decimated. There's disseminated. Its seat filings. There's only the one seat, so it's a one-seated ground vehicle. That's
Okay.
all we know.
I hope it has a tractor beam on it.
They haven't seen one, but then again, it's not like something that's going to be for the next patch, anyways.
Sure. Yeah. No, definitely not 317. What is some, I'm not going to ask you to give up your good info or anything, but what is something that you have seen or maybe trends that you've noticed throughout these last couple of months that's looking pretty interesting for people this year?
Oh, for this year, I mean, I was going to just keep saying Squadron. We shouldn't. The thought is Squadron will be shown to us at some point this year.
I feel like I've heard that a lot the last few years. Is it actually?
Last year. No, it's not releasing this year. Oh
No,
my
no, no,
God.
not released. Just being shown in actual, besides like a location highlight.
You see, I want to say that like they have a bunch of stuff ready. A lot of Squadron 42 got a huge facelift recently. I think like the entirety of the spacescaping's been redone. It looks a lot more colorful.
Yeah, they've been loving the colors.
Stuff like that. I mean,
But
in terms of showing us Squadron, see, I
the
want to say,
Squadron stuff that's really looking up.
I want to say yes. I really do, but I just know that it won't happen the second I say yes.
You've already
So,
ruined it. You said it here. It's now. It doesn't happen. Everybody's gonna point back to this podcast and be like, "Space Tomato." God.
no one. It's not. It's not close enough. They don't even know if to do in a physical show yet. Give them a few more months.
Right. Yeah.
And even that's going to be a huge factor to it. That's kind of was a big factor why it wasn't shown this year or last year.
Yeah. That's fair. And I do hope that they're able to do something physical again this year. We got a question here from the supporters watching live. If there are any already server-only object containers in the game, like cave locations that aren't in the files or are 100% of location game file based.
You skipped the most important bit of this man's question.
Caves filled with picos, maybe.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure the only reason they're asking this is
Where's
if
the
the Pico
pico
cave's
cave?
in game.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's not in game.
It's not.
Oh my god. Okay, so CIG loves to do that, where they just straight up lie about stuff being in game. For instance, the Picos were actually not on planet until the patch after they said they were on planet. CIG does not is never 100% on board when it comes to stuff being like surprisingly in game. So I wouldn't. If you haven't seen it by now, then you haven't seen it because it's not in game.
Well,
There's
that
no
is.
there's no hidden caves according to the object files. That stuff's really easy to find.
I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. You heard it here first. CIG lies about Pico. They're just
Well, they lied about Pico.
they're baiting us with false gods.
Oh, I do need to check how much the Picos sell for.
Well, I do hope we can find them at some point. That kind of stuff, people keep asking for exploration gameplay, but that kind of stuff is exploration, just not as like a, not as a release view card.
I would check 317 because, patch after it might be implemented.
Okay.
But now, if they're not lying about the Pico Ball being the most valuable item in game, they might just remove that so it's not an exploit.
Yeah, I want to know how much it is.
Because all you need to do is just like grab a ship, just keep despawning in orbit, and just keep coming down.
Oh yeah, that's true. All right, well, I always like to finish off these shows just asking. I mean, I know I asked you about leaks that you were excited about, but maybe in terms of possible official features or news coming out this year, anything that you're looking forward to with Star Citizen?
There's two things, and that is just it's 317 because 317 looks like a great patch if those desync fixes are as good as they say. I keep getting talked up by the Evo guys, and now even Disco Lando and the SC Live and
Oh
Todd Pack.
man,
Man, these are looking pretty good.
don't do that to me. Don't get me.
I know,
That's
I
a
know.
big deal.
I don't want to do it to myself. Yeah, if they're that's right, then I just want to get into it and do more FPS stuff because that's what I enjoy. And the other thing is if Pyromania actually happens, which is that event they were teasing out last year.
Oh wait, pyromania is like a thing.
Well, yeah, it's basically what happens is, I won't spoil it on the show.
All right, that's fair. But it sounds like some kind of event based on pyro.
I mean, it's in all. It will get you to Pyro.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. I hope we get pyro. I hope we see something significant. I know there's a lot of really good small features coming in, but that would be a huge, I think, morale boost for the community and probably the company.
Oh yeah, no, I can't wait for it. If it actually, it sounds like at this moment at 2:34 p.m. on March 18th of 2022.
I don't know. I see 35. Sounds like a lie.
Oh, yeah, Squadron 42 or sorry, Pyro is still on point for end of the year.
If don't come back to this. I didn't say that. So don't come back here for that.
I think I've already bet a sock on it being announced at least for Q4.
All right. We will be revisiting that then. Yep, he jinxed it. Now they're saying in the chat. Here's a big one actually. You might be able to help bring some clarification to this because I get this question all the time. I don't think it's going to happen, but people keep asking, is it possible that Nyx comes with pyro?
No,
Okay.
it's not even like a question of content. It's more so just a question of why. Why would you do it both at once? You have this second system full of individual missions and content. Why would you fill up this one patch with twice that? You know,
Just
you
spread
just
out the
wait.
enjoyment.
You spread it out.
Yeah. And it also
Yeah.
like just knowing how Star Citizen performs and what happens when they put in big things. I'm just imagining they put in pyro and there's like some weird problem they didn't catch with putting in a star system and then it gets doubled because they put in another one.
No, the reason they're working on Nyx so much is because planetary content like that's it's kind of on a slowdown. Mainly just because they've hit the wall. I think Pyro was supposed to be earlier in the
Huh.
year, but yeah, things didn't work out.
Okay. And to close us off, actually, I have two questions to close us off. Any hints at what could be being developed after Nyx?
Um, you see, I wish I could say, but I think it's entirely due to me just forgetting the names of the systems. It doesn't matter. It's one of the empty ones. It's not Terra.
Oh, okay.
It's not Terra.
Man.
Terra should be the next one though. After that one.
Yeah, because they kind of teased it, starting to talk about Terra assets. What was that? Maybe a year and a half ago now, or it's like their last spring or the spring before. So I'm constantly wondering, like, what is their actual plan for that? Okay.
It'll be a thing.
My last question then is: you started all of this SC leaks pipeline. You're doing a lot of this content now for Star Citizen. Is there a possibility you might ever decide doing that for another game?
Oh, I was thinking of doing a shits and giggles Star Atlas video.
Oh God, April
But by the
Fools.
time I actually no. But by the time I wanted to do that, it looks like it's just gonna crash and burn. So I time is doing it for me.
What do you mean? I thought everybody was telling me that I should get on board with it and that it was cool and we were going to make money.
Yeah, I think the dollar is worth like 20 cents over there now. I think almost all the value's gone.
Oh man, that's going to be. I don't know. I'll never do probably won't do a podcast on that specifically, but
Oh, Thomas,
gosh.
it's an entire thing. I've talked to like one dev on it. It's not good. Don't don't get suckered into it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That I did say that was my last question. But we do
Yeah.
have a Q&A after this for all of our supporters who are here live. So if you guys stick around, we'll still be talking to you after the podcast. But I would like to thank you, Hater, for coming by and giving me your time and talking to me a little bit about your community and everything you do. Can you let people know, though, where they might be able to find you, your content, your community?
I'll just make it easy for them. If you guys got Discord, go to discord.gg/pipeline SC. We didn't get Pipeline Basic. I think that's to some streaming company. But Pipeline SC, that one's ours. Go there, you'll be able to find everything there.
All right. Cool. Well, thanks again, man, for coming by. Thank you, everybody who decided to listen live. If you guys would like to listen to these podcasts live or get the chance to ask questions to all of our guests, our supporters get chances every week if you are supporting through Patreon, YouTube channel member, Twitch subscriber, or you're on Ko-fi. No matter what it is, you get the front row seat. So thanks, everybody who came live. Thank you if you're watching or listening, and we will catch you next week. Actually, no, sorry, we won't catch you next week. We've got an upcoming special that I'll be filming later today. So I'll catch you probably the next few days. See you guys later, and thanks for coming.